everyone. My name is Marisa Stone with Simon Says Social and the Systems Lounge, and I want to welcome you today to the 2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit, where you learn all about the business systems that our speakers use to get things done. And today I am super stoked to have Kari Price here. We are going to be talking all about how to jazz up your business. So let me ask you a question. Did you know that the vast majority of people feel they are not given enough training to actually deal with people? Kari does. To many of the people that she deals with, she's known as the people whisperer. With her business degree plus years of experience as a business leader, she helps entrepreneurs and those in business get the right mindset, confidence, clarity, competence, so that they can get the results they deserve and live the life they want, however they want. Kari has had a journey herself in her career and learned how to become an empowered boss. That's very, very different from just being a boss, right? Her knowledge as an HR consultant, Forbes council coach, mother, wife, and juggler, we all know that role, right? Has made her realize that people want practical, actionable solutions that they can use right now, today. Plus, Kari speaks about issues at work like harassment, gender bias, empowerment, and she does workshops and trainings as well as group and personal coaching. She's all in with people, but only works with those who will put in the effort to get the results. Band-Aid solutions, not her thing. Boss results, that's where it's at. But that takes work. So Kari's here to help you get started. Welcome, Kari. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you. And I'm so excited to be here and share what I know.
Awesome. So let's, the name of this talk is Jazz Up Your Business. What does that really mean?
Well, what it means is, and no, we're not going to use our jazz hands. That's not what we're here to do.
Not pulling out the saxophone?
No, I mean, you can if you want, but what I've learned from my years of being a leader in business and also now in the work I do with entrepreneurs and businesses is that the number one concern I hear is people are not as jazzed about my business as I am.
Yeah.
Right. And every entrepreneur started a business or someone joined a business generally as a leader because they had a belief, they had a passion about the business.
Yeah.
And then when they grow, which is fantastic because it means things are happening, and now you need to expand your team. And so you hire someone and then you end up being generally very disappointed.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's how do you convey that jazz, that passion, that feeling that you have about your business to people that work with you so they're equally as jazzed up.
Yep. Yep. And when you say jazzed up, you're really sort of talking about a level of commitment to the work that you're doing, right? You're talking about buy-in. So let's talk about that for just a minute. What does it look like when somebody has bought into my business idea or they're committed to the work that I'm doing? What does that even look like?
Well, it looks like someone who gives 110%.
Yeah.
Someone who goes above and beyond. Someone who doesn't watch the clock and say, it's the end of the day, I'm out of here.
I'm done.
Right. Someone who understands what they bring to the business and how that's going to impact the client or the customer.
Yeah.
So to me, it's someone who has that desire, the drive to go above and beyond without being asked.
Right. So as an entrepreneur, a lot of times I might be a solo entrepreneur. Why should I be concerned with whether or not somebody else is committed to the work that I'm doing?
Well, I guess I'd say to you, you can be a solo entrepreneur forever.
Right.
But you need to learn how to convey that passion you have to others.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you continue to be a solo entrepreneur or whether you get resources in place to help you, and that might be a virtual assistant,
right.
And everything I talk about applies to a virtual assistant.
Mm-hmm.
And I've worked with many virtual assistants on the things I do, and it's helped them with their businesses. Whether you need to be able to, as a solopreneur, have that same passion be conveyed outwardly and with people you work with. And so if you don't have that, then I've seen it and I've experienced it. You're on that, what I call the hamster wheel, and you're never going to get off.
Right, right. And I would also think that it would be important if I'm trying to create partnerships or collaborate with others, or, so just because I'm a solopreneur doesn't mean that I exist in a vacuum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you have that energy, but you need, how do I convey how I feel about my business and what makes it so special to a joint venture partner or someone I'm going to collaborate with? If I can't do that very well, I'm probably not going to want to work with you.
Right. That totally makes sense. So let's flip that. As an entrepreneur, how do I get others excited about my business and the things that I'm doing?
Well, you need to, when I have this conversation with entrepreneurs and I say, well, the first thing I'll say, if they say, which is generally, like I said, their first complaint, people aren't as jazzed up as I am. My first comment is, tell me about your business.
Yeah.
And so when they tell me about their business, invariably, I see the fire, I see the drive, I see the passion.
Right.
And so what you need to do is capture that and make sure that you can convey it consistently and concisely. Like you said, you don't want to spend hours and hours. You just want to be able to get it across. But you need to be able to do that in a consistent, concise manner that's also compelling, right? So that you draw someone in. And if you can do that, then that's a really great start.
Yeah. So how is this, I keep thinking about it as a story, right? It's a story of who I am and what I'm doing. How is this story different from what might go into my About Me page on my website?
And that's a really good question. Your About Me page is what I call one-dimensional, generally. Right. Some people might put a video, but it's pretty much one-dimensional. And so if I'm looking to have people work with me, it needs to be three-dimensional, ideally almost four-dimensional. And for me, that fourth dimension is the emotional component. Right. And when you tell a story, there's science behind storytelling. That's why it's such a big deal right now, is that when you and I share a story, there's different parts of my brain that can be activated. So, if that story that I convey can activate parts of your brain, can hook with you emotionally, can get you drawn in, that's very different than what's on the About Me page. Now, a really well-written About Me page, they're great, and we've all seen them.
Right.
But it's not quite the same as drawing you in and getting that emotional component. And there's also science behind when you actually tell the story that our brains actually start to synchronize.
Right.
And then I have an ability to influence. And that just can't happen on an About Me page.
Right. That makes total sense. I could also see how, it's interesting that you say that the About Me page is really kind of one-dimensional. I have seen a few really good About Me pages where they've had a video or some other interactive media component. And I can totally see how that would make a big difference on how somebody responds to you in the online space. All they have is your web presence. So that's made up of your website, your social channels, and any other places where you hang out online. So if all those spaces are one-dimensional, they don't really get the full picture of who Kari is. So,
right.
Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense. So let's talk strategy for a second. And I know we're going to dive much deeper into a lot of this in the second interview, but give us a little bit of an overview. Like, what is a good strategy for beginning and creating my story?
The strategy for beginning the story is to take a few moments and actually think, why did you start the business?
Yeah.
And what do you want people to know about it? A lot of entrepreneurs and solopreneurs kind of have that. I don't like using the word elevator speech, but I can't think of a better word.
Right.
That initial pitch, what do you do?
Yeah.
Right. That the answer to what do you do?
Right.
To be able to think, okay, what do I do? What is my product? What is my service? That's important. So that's part of your strategy. But the other part is, and the more important part is, how do I convey the feeling about my business? How do I want other people to feel about my business? It's one thing to say I sell widgets,
right?
But it's another thing to make people really relate to why you created the widget and how your widget is different and better, and why that's better for people to buy your widget.
Yeah. Yeah. So are there so my strategy then, okay, let's just use me as an example, right? My memorable marketing message, or my 30-second speech, is that I help female entrepreneurs fall in love with technology. That's what I do, because by the time they see a system and how it works and how they can implement it, they are off the charts in love. And so that's what I do. So, I mean, that's a one sentence, but how can I weave that into something that's going to be useful and really draw someone else in?
Right, right. So my response back to you, Marissa, would be, why did you start? Like, why is creating the work you do so that female entrepreneurs fall in love with technology, why is that so important to you?
Because I see a lot of women out there completely intimidated by the tools, and they're unable to design the lives that they want.
And so why is that important to you?
So really it's digging in deeper and deeper and deeper and getting to that. So you almost need a worksheet that helps you to dive deep into, well, why did you do this? Well, why did you do this? Well, why did you do this?
Right. Which is what I have.
Yeah.
And there's also, I mean, and it's based on that whole exercise is based on something that was created by Toyota, called the 5 Whys.
Okay.
And that 5 Whys exercise is about diving deeper and going deeper. And I know when I walk entrepreneurs through this exercise, just like I'm walking it through with you, I saw you have to stop for a minute.
Yeah.
And there's this point of, I want to talk about this, but I don't want to talk about this. And it's almost hard work. Right. And when you get to the 5th why, it's very deep. And that's really where we're going to the heart. But trying to encapsulate that strategy, if you can get people to the kind of that deep place where that passion really sits in your heart, then it's really easy to create the story. Otherwise, it's kind of a superficial story.
Got you. That's very cool. And I definitely, it's one of the things that's on my agenda to do, is to come up with my own story and how I became that person that empowers women to use tech. And so, so I'm very, very interested in taking advantage of some of the resources that you're providing here today in this talk. So, okay, so I know that we are getting to this point where we're winding down in this interview, but is there anything else that we need to know, either to jumpstart us or get us up and running on really jazzing up our businesses?
I would say that there's a couple things. You need to stop and really think about the fact that if you can't convey your passion, you're not going to do that well, not as well as you could.
Right.
And if you can't convey that to people you work with, you're not going to do as well as you could. Right. Because there's lots of research behind the fact that if you have happy customers, they're going to talk about your product.
It's true.
And that's going to draw on more. That's why we all exist, right? We want more. We want more. We want to serve more people,
right,
through our product or service. And if you can create this story, and it's really the foundation for launching everything else. And so it's, that analogy of building a house. Mm-hmm. If you don't have the foundation built, you're going to have a house that sometimes can be blown over.
Right.
And we don't want that. We want a house that's brick, that's going to withstand the hurricane. And that's where I think if you can do this well, the rest is easy.
Yeah. 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 That totally makes sense. Do you feel like, most entrepreneurs would need an extra level of assistance in getting their stories out? Like, do you provide workshops? I know you do group coaching and you do personal coaching. Like, do you feel like most people you work with need that extra, just somebody kind of sitting there with them or pushing them or helping them along because it is such a difficult thing to get out?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I would say that for a lot of people, they don't recognize that in the beginning.
Right, right.
So we spend a lot of time talking about it. And what I've learned to do is plant a lot of seeds, and then they come to fruition. And then, you know, it might be a day or two or a week or two, or sometimes a month or two, or with a recent client, it was a whole year.
Some people, it takes a little longer for them to bloom. It's all good.
And that's all good. To realize, okay, I really do need that foundation first.
Yeah.
Right. But everyone has to come to it in their own way. So and I've learned that myself.
Yeah.
So I can plant the seeds and then I wait for them to come to fruition.
Yeah. Yeah. That totally makes sense. So again, I know we're coming to the end of this interview, but how can people reach out to you? So let's say they want to work with you, they're interested in some of your coaching packages, or they really just need to get their story out. How can people reach out to you, get in touch, and start that dialogue?
Well, you can simply connect with me at theartofbeingaboss.com.
Nice, nice.
And I'm there. You can connect with me or Kari at theartofbeingaboss.com, and that's Kari. And let's connect. That's the best way to get a hold of me.
Cool. Very cool. Thank you. And I really, really appreciate everything you've shared today. This has been an amazing kind of eye-opening conversation about the things that we need to do as entrepreneurs to really get our story out there. Guys, Kari has got a link below this video as well, and her social channels are down there. You can definitely touch base with her, reach out to her, take advantage of some of the resources that she has to offer and the ways in which she can support you in getting your business jazzed up. For those of you that are part of the All Access Pass, stick around because we are diving much, much deeper in the next interview. And we definitely want you to hang out with us for a little while longer. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you in the next interview. Bye.